Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Down the Middle. This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Trophy Smack. We will tell you more about them later, but first, we're going to get right into it. CM Punk has finally spoken and basically confirmed everything that we've been saying on this show for the better almost 2 years now. You hearing me, Hakeem?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's
Oh,
good.
okay. So yeah, that CM Punk interview, man.
Oh yeah. Because when I saw it, what was it, yesterday or so? He said a lot about what happened to Brawl Out, and also the reason why he wanted to leave.
Just AEW in general. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah, pretty
I
much.
I mentioned this when we were talking in the group chat. I was
Uh-huh.
laughing for the bulk of listening to his
Yeah,
conversation with
yeah,
Ariel Helwani
yeah,
because I
yeah.
mean I don't mean it was kind of close to what we've been saying, and to be fair, a lot of what we were saying was in relation to what we'd heard from other people, but
Exactly.
my suspicion, even the stuff that we were kind of talking about, even really before CM Punk was in AEW, the problems, the root of the problems that they had, but
hmm
specifically once Punk got there, you know, I was saying very early on that all this is Tony Khan's fault.
Yeah, a lot of people said he's not really a boss. He's more like a friend, or he wants to be friends with all the wrestlers, but
Yeah.
not
Well,
really like in control.
yeah. Well, I could tell at the media scrum that
Exactly.
Tony Khan wasn't in charge. And maybe I'm a little bit more perceptive because I'll like brutally honest, I used to be that guy.
Uh-huh.
I mean I see all the signs. He's afraid of confrontation. He doesn't want anybody to be mad at him. He doesn't want anybody to be mad around him. But like when you're in charge of a company, you can't. You're gonna piss people off. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It was all the hugging for me. Like,
Yeah, that was like yeah, that was a little creepy. But what this
yeah,
really confirmed, like I just like even Punk laughed a couple of times when he's like it's not a real business. And when he
yeah,
was talking about that, I'm like, oh my God, he's like again, we'd been talking about this for some time, but
yeah,
it's true. I mean, the way AEW is run, the way AEW is booked, it is not run in a way. Brian, which by the way, sorry, I should have prefaced with Brian will not be joining us live tonight. He is at a medical facility.
yeah.
Actually, I take that. I don't know. I didn't really get it wasn't clear to me, but he may join, but he will be in the comments. And he said, "So, what do you want to talk about?" Oh Lord, yeah. I mean, gosh, I mean, where do we even start? I was also kind of shocked. Like Punk didn't have a non-compete.
Yeah, that was a little shocking.
Also, didn't have an NDA for Wembley. Apparently,
hmm But the first one he did, the first
yeah, for
brawl
brawl out.
fight,
Yeah,
yeah,
which
yeah,
apparently, as he put it, he didn't sign an NDA for anything that he did wrong.
yeah. It was mostly like I guess Tony told him to do it, and maybe
I'll
he'll give him
I'll
some
tell yeah.
more money or something.
No, I'll tell you exactly what the NDA is for. The NDA is because
Mhm.
and I said this at the time, I said this after it happened. The people that barged in were three of the four EVPs and the number two of the company, who also happens to be the head of their legal department, barged into a dressing room and because of something that happened or was said, a physical altercation happened. Now, if I remember the account correctly, it was Punk and Ace Steel's wife who had an injured leg and Larry in the room.
Yeah, that's what I
And
heard.
and then apparently after the fight started, Ace Steel came into the room and hit Kenny.
Yeah.
And apparently Punk punched one of the Bucks in the face I can't remember who. I think it was Matt.
Yeah,
No, I mean, sorry, I think it was Nick.
yeah.
Um, Again, my theory solely based upon how Punk said it and what he said, I'm willing to bet that after everything that happened with between him and Hangman, and it's pretty obvious by now that yeah, it was Nick that got punched. I thought that was right.
Uh-huh.
It seems to me that when Punk got there, certain people, the elite, or at the very least the Bucks, I don't know how much Kenny had to do with it. Um, but I think pretty obvious the Bucks at least and their camp did not want CM Punk there because he was going to steal the thunder, which he did. Um,
Hmm.
but that's really stupid because you're also an executive. So
Yeah,
if Punk makes you money, you make more money. Like
that's the part I didn't get. Like he would bring in more eyes and money into the company, so why not have him there?
he did though. He did bring
Yeah,
in
yeah,
more
yeah.
eyes. And not only that, it's called the rub. Like I'm sorry, like okay, would you have pulled the same crap if well, they probably would have, but I was like if somehow they'd managed to bring Cena in,
Uh-huh.
like you're going to do the same thing? Like really? Or
Probably so.
are you going to be like, "Look, we've got CM Punk in our company, which means we all get to work with him." And I think the smart people, Darby Allin, MJF,
Yeah,
um, FTR, you know, and there's more. I'm not going to go through the entire list.
yeah.
I think there were a lot of people there that understood, oh, CM Punk is here, which means not only do I get the pleasure of working with somebody who's a bona fide legend in my industry, but this is somebody that can help me make more money, that can
Yeah.
grow my fan base because they're out there. There were people who had not heard of MJF before CM Punk went to AEW. There were people who had not heard of who else did he work with pretty well? Darby
Darby.
Allin. Yeah, Darby.
Yeah.
Basically, there are people who hadn't heard of Hangman Page before CM Punk went
Yeah.
to
Pretty
AEW.
much. I never heard of
And
them. Well, I heard of them in Ring of Honor, but that's about it. But
yeah,
besides,
yeah, but I mean, it's in the numbers. Punk
mhm,
demonstrably brought more people to the product.
yeah.
And I would also like to point out he sold out a building in Chicago based upon the rumor that he was going to be there, not even confirmed.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that place blew. And I love how now all the AEW. Um, I haven't decided what I'm going to start referring to AEW fans. I came up with the idea when I was listening to Punk. I can't decide if it's going to be. I think Dreamers, the AEW Dreamers.
And the part I didn't get was like they even like hinted that Punk was coming. I thought they was happy he was coming. Even Kenny Omega, he wore like a Cookie Monster
Yeah,
shirt
yeah, yeah.
with
Oh, I
it
remember
or
that. Yeah,
something.
and then when Darby dropped Best in the World in his promo, I was like, "Oh, CM Punk's going to be there." But I liked how they
Yeah,
did it. It was very smart. Um,
yeah.
because honestly, and Jim this is one of the few times I disagree with Jim Cornette. Is it's like you got to advertise Punk, and I'm like, if you drop enough hints, people are going to
Hmm.
know, and the
Yeah,
surprise
pretty
factor will
much.
be worth it. Because I still like to go back and watch that clip. It was an incredible
Yeah,
moment. It's just too bad that they shit the bed with it. Literally everything after that they screwed up
yeah,
from a
yeah.
management. Tony Khan was happy, clearly.
I
It's
was also
just
shocked how he was saying that they didn't help him when he was injured.
yeah,
I,
that
I was
well,
shocked with that part.
but that's Tony. Again,
Hmm.
that's Tony and his
Uh-huh.
organization because Tony's not
Uh-huh.
going to enforce anything, and
Hmm.
it's not just Tony, but Tony's too scared to pick up the phone and call Punk because heaven
Uh-huh.
forbid somebody yell at him. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's awful. That's terrible. It's a good thing Punk is wealthy.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but again, that's the whole thing because when you give your friends jobs and your friends haven't demonstrated, I'm not saying don't give your friends jobs if they've demonstrated that they're competent, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah, that whole thing. The other thing that I was that I don't think I had really heard anywhere else. What we kind of suspected, or at least I suspected, and Punk confirmed, was the fact that Collision was basically to keep Punk separated from everybody that didn't like him, but keep him in
Yeah,
AEW.
it
And
felt
I'm
like
just
that, and that
well, and
was
the
weird.
yeah, well, and the funny thing is Tony was kind of halfway asked about it, and he said no, the network wanted a third show, and I'm like, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
Like you don't just create a new show and say like, hey, throw this on your network. No, but they wanted a third show, and you engineered it and saw an opportunity. And I'll bet you honestly,
Hmm.
I'll bet money. I would bet money on this. I bet uh not Time Warner Brothers Discovery knew about what was going on with CM Punk, and they probably came to Tony Khan and said, "You're not going to fuck this up for us
Yeah,
because
pretty
Punk
much.
is ratings." So yeah. Now, if I'd been Warner Brothers Discovery, I would have been kind of pissed that they put Punk's wrestling show on a Saturday, which is not it's
Hmm.
not good for ratings. But I guess they were probably hoping that Punk would draw ratings, which he wasn't around long enough to see if he would. He did in relation to other Collision episodes since his
Uh-huh.
departure, but there's a lot of variables on Saturdays. But I do think Punk. I was actually excited for Collision when it seemed pretty clear that they were going to unofficially split the rosters and
Hmm.
that Punk was basically going to be in charge, which he also confirmed Punk was basically in charge of Collision, which is why it was good.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't know
Like
that
the
part, but I kind of felt it that way. It was
it
someone
felt
else in
yeah.
charge.
It certainly felt somebody else was in charge. I mean, the first episode was
Hmm.
really good.
Hmm.
I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm watching a wrestling program." The matches make sense, nothing stupid, and like Andrade had a great series of matches in the first few episodes of Collision,
Uh-huh.
and then all the main events were good. CMFTR was great. Like even the theme song grew on me.
I didn't like it.
I did not
At
like it at
first, I didn't like
first.
it at all.
It grew on
But
me though. It
yeah, I
really
did.
did. Kind of like FTR's new theme music though, because honestly, didn't like it when I first heard it, but
Same here.
it's grown on me. Basically, I'm easily conditioned if you just repeat something enough times. Like I became a I became a fan of the acclaimed.
Oh yeah, I always kind of liked their theme song.
Oh, not just their theme song. I criticized it at first because it felt like a John Cena ripoff, but
It did. It did.
I grew to like it. I
Uh-huh.
grew to like it.
Hmm.
Plus, I kind of went to this is documented too. I went to Max Caster's defense when they got in trouble for the rap on that episode of Dark or Elevation.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. It was with
Yeah,
that girl or something that I forgot who it was.
no,
It was an
it was.
athlete.
I think it was the whole volleyball team or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like again, just to bat for Max Caster again. Like first of once again, Tony's fault because
Hmm.
Tony had opened his big mouth and said that he edits that show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, so okay, nobody had a problem with it until after it aired and people on YouTube,
People had a
Twitter,
problem. Yeah.
and people on Twitter complained. And then you throw Max Caster under the bus, saying like,
Hmm.
oh, well, we didn't know he was going to say that. I'm like, you're mean to tell me that you let your wrestlers go out on television, or in this case, the internet, in front of a live audience without knowing full well what they're going to do. I don't necessarily mean word for word, but when your gimmick is offensive rapping, you're
Hmm.
probably going to want to know what he's going to say.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't want to be surprised by it and then say, "Oh, oops,"
But I'll
you
tell you
know.
exactly what happened. Tony was like, he's going to rap some more. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then people got mad. And then instead of being an adult and saying, you know what, shame on us because we didn't see a problem with it till it was too late. Blah 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 blah. Talk to Max. We're gonna tone it down. But you know what? I would have told them.
Hmm.
I would have told them to change their tampon. Like, come on.
Yeah, it wasn't
Like,
that
really, it
offensive.
wasn't that offensive. It's
Hmm.
like there was more offensive stuff in many of his other raps.
Yeah.
I was like, what, that's what you have a problem with? MJF can go out and call an
Mhm.
entire audience a bunch of virgins, but you've got a problem with like alluding to something that happened that was quasi scandalous.
Yeah, I didn't get
It's
that
whatever.
part. They picked that one to fight against him.
Well, that's what happens when you cater to the outrage mob, and now
Uh-huh.
like, and honestly, it. Tony Khan just over the years has. It's funny for a guy who will argue with internet trolls. He really didn't stand up for his wrestler there.
Yeah, that's true. It's like when it counts, he's not there.
That basically encapsulates Tony Khan's entire running of AEW. When it counts, he's not there. Wish he wouldn't be there. I still laugh that Tony Khan has won Booker of the Year awards.
He probably paid for it.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say who's, but it rhymes with Cave Schmelzer,
Yeah, yeah,
and
pretty
I, I
much.
I don't I don't understand it, but hey, and it's a shame because early AEW, which again you have to remember, we're comparing it to WWE of 2019,
Hmm.
but early AEW was really good stuff for the most part. There was always goofy shit, like the fact that Chuck Taylor was hired to be
Oh,
on television.
yeah, yeah. I forgot who it was for a second.
Oh, imagine that. Like I discovered Trent Beretta when he was tag teaming with Rocky Romero. I've never had a problem with Trent, but when he started hanging around with the best
Hmm.
friends, which I know they were a thing on the Indies and in PWG, but okay, controversial statement. I can't stand PWG. I know that makes me a heretic.
I've seen it, but I have no. It's like it's
Well,
mad
to
to me, you
it,
know.
it's it, my problem with PWG is you'll have one match where two guys will beat the living hell out of Candice LeRae,
Hmm. Oh
and then
yeah, oh
and then
yeah.
the
I
next
seen that.
and then the proverbial next match you have guys thumb fucking each other.
Oh, actually seen both of those.
Yeah,
I forgot that was in the same organization.
and I'm just like, and then the next match you have a fake invisible grenade that
Yeah, yeah.
works apparently, and I'm just, uh, oh, Brian Vince voice, that was good shit. Early AEW. You think he said that when he took the dump on? Oh,
He had to at least
that
once.
was good shit. Leave that there. I'm gonna shout. I couldn't believe Punk talked about that.
I was shocked, yeah. Especially said when what he said about it.
I mean, he gave probably the most politically correct answer without being Tony Khan about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I don't think he's going to get any flack for it because he answered the question but didn't dwell on it.
Hmm.
And I mean, what else are you going to say? You know, it's not like Vince is there anymore. Who cares?
Uh-huh.
You know, and it's not like it has any reflection on the current WWE anyway. It has a lot of implications for the way WWE was,
Was, yeah,
but
before.
it's not anymore. Which, speaking of which, we're going to touch on WrestleMania a little bit later. But I was reading because I always pull up the Wikipedia for the match orders when we do these previews, and
Hmm.
it reminded me this is the first WrestleMania under the TKO banner, and it will be the last WrestleMania. So I'm going to actually read this part because we were curious because there was the announcement that Raw would be moving to Netflix.
Oh yeah, I read that. Yeah.
And so this will also be the final WrestleMania event to live stream on the standalone WWE network that is still available in most countries outside of the United States, as beginning in January 2025, the service in those countries will shut down. Oh, okay. So they're talking about the independent WWE network in other countries. So, okay, I did misread it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so apparently in many other countries, your premium live events will also be on Netflix. So that's cool. One convenient location.
Yeah, and more people have Netflix than anything. So.
Right. Yeah. I actually think that's a really, really cool and smart move. It's going to be
Hmm.
interesting to watch, but it's also going to be really interesting to watch what WWE does with CM Punk over the years because Ariel Helwani also asked him if he would be interested in doing like a managerial or backstage role. I think he will.
Yeah.
I would love to see CM Punk put in charge of NXT, not immediately, but when he decides to retire from in ring, I think NXT would be a
Uh
very
huh.
good place for him.
It would be because I actually I thought he was going to be like in that role when he came back a little bit more than
I
actually like full
I
time.
I know he's gone down to NXT a couple of times.
Hmm.
And I think they'll ease him into that because I think he would be extremely useful. And I mean, he was trying to do that for AEW, as was Cody, which
Hmm.
Cody is. I, I kind of imagine in my mind that once Punk was back in WWE, he and Cody sat down for a cup of coffee and went, "Fuck, dude,
Yeah, I could imagine. Imagine they write a book together.
I would take my money. I wanna read that so
Mhm.
bad." And one of these days, we will eventually find out what happened at Brawl Out. I imagine one of the Bucks will actually probably shoot their mouths off, or Mega when she finally gets tired of dealing with Tony Khan's shit and
Yeah,
goes somewhere else. I think it'd be hilarious if WWE hired her, except I wouldn't because based on what I've seen legally from AEW, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really comment on her legal abilities, but just based on what
uh-huh.
I've seen, I don't know that I'd want her in charge of anything in my organization based upon what I've seen.
Yeah, I think it'll just lead to more trouble or conflict later on.
I mean, once again, the fact that she was with three executives from the company when they stormed into a talent's dressing room.
And no one said, no, this is a bad idea.
Not a one of them, and especially head of legal wasn't like the head of legal was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
We'll tell him what for." Yes. And while Tony's having his and CM Punk said what I've been saying the whole time: the media scrums are dumb.
They are.
They're
They
so
are.
stupid. It's a
It
fake press
seems so
conference.
forced. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's a fake press conference with fake
uh
journalists about a fake sport.
yeah.
It's fucking dumb.
Uh-huh.
And like he said sometimes when there's like a legitimate happening, like The Rock coming back, yeah, you might want to hold a press conference, but after every single pay-per-view, and at least when WWE does it, they're kind of in on it. Like they do their
Hmm.
pre-shows, but and it's like they do like talking smack and WWE backstage, like, but it's all part of like the fake little world. They're not talking to
Yeah.
fake journalists about it. It's so I kind of get that, but I also didn't watch any of that. But you almost had to watch the AEW scrums because you just never knew what was going to happen.
It was good for being bad.
Yeah, it would, and plus you just got to see Tony Khan in his cocaine-induced element. I'm not saying I don't know if Tony Khan does cocaine or amphetamines, but I'll put it to you this way: much like the Vince things coming to light, if Tony Khan's toxicology report came out, I don't think I'd be surprised with the
Oh,
results.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't think no one would be.
It's like I'm not saying he does, but if it came out that he did, I wouldn't be shocked. Let's see what else, because Punk talked a lot. I was kind of surprised how long Punk talked too.
Yeah, it was like an hour or so, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have even
Yeah.
been a little bit over.
Well, yeah.
But Ariel Helwani is good, and they kind of poke fun at Tony again because he was like, "I'm actually going to answer questions." Because I don't know if you heard that just cringe-inducing interview that Tony
I
Khan.
did.
Oh, like I'm
Didn't he
listening
like
to
get
it.
up to leave at one point? Like he got up in the interview and left?
I think
Wasn't
he
that
did. I think
one?
it ended. I think
Yeah,
it ended abruptly, but you could hear Ariel Helwani getting. You could hear him getting frustrated.
yeah.
It's like, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, "Geez, just slap him, please." Oh, and all the viewers will be proud of me. I actually did watch Raw this week, and I will watch SmackDown tomorrow in
Yeah.
anticipation. I got my WrestleMania planned. I got all the ingredients I need to make sliders at home. Sliders, tater tots. I'm in for it. I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I can't
excited.
wait.
Yeah, and it actually so that leaked card that we had outside of the matches that had already been planned, apparently it was fake as shit. Although some were close, so maybe some plans changed, but I think it might have been bogus from the beginning.
I think so too, but it was really close, especially like the Sami Zayn
Yeah,
like
it was,
angle.
and
Yeah.
maybe we all know how plans change, and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Punk pretty well confirmed We were right again. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be Punk and Seth at WrestleMania.
Hmm. Yeah. It had to be, but like injury.
It just made sense. What I didn't know is that Punk didn't re-sign until right before he went out at Survivor Series.
Yeah, that
That's
was kind of
wild.
shocking.
That's wild. I think they anticipated it because he'd even said he was talking with Nick Khan and he was like, "Yeah, man, Saturday's the business, so we got to make it happen for Saturday." So I think they all knew it was
Hmm.
just like a little bit here, a little bit there. But again, Punk also doesn't need the money, but at the same time, Punk is worth the money. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just making sure nobody's getting screwed, which I don't think this time around WWE was looking to screw anybody. It's like I said, it's a totally different organization.
Uh-huh.
And Nick Khan, I will say this much, Nick Khan knows what the hell he's doing, man.
At first, I didn't think he would, but I kind of got used to it, and I think he's going to put it in the right direction more now than ever Vince.
Oh, and then Brian said, and Randy Orton actually called Punk about coming back. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. I know that they did. I know that they did a watch along with one of their old matches,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I have not watched yet,
I
but I
didn't see
want
it
to.
yet. Mhm.
But apparently, they talk about how at the time they legitimately did not like each other, which that was, I believe, that was back before Randy kind of cooled off,
Mhm.
and that was back when Punk was offended by his own shadow in his, I mean, there was a time, there was a
Yeah, it
time. Well,
was.
I've always been a CM Punk fan, but I will be the first to admit that he's got a temper, and especially back in the day, it seemed like it was pretty easy to get on his bad side. But I
Mhm.
digress. Still a fan, and
Same here.
it's nice to be vindicated. Because when all that was going down, I was like, you know what? And at the same time, I don't really care what happened with the specifics
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, it's Tony Khan's fault and they screwed up. And it's an unfortunate truth. I've said this before too. Top guys get more leeway. It is a double standard. It's not fair, but it's the world we live in. Like, you're not going to tell John Cena the same things you're going to tell, you know, somebody who just joined NXT roster.
Yeah.
You're not. If Cena can go over 5 minutes if he wants. He's John Cena. Punk can go over 5 minutes if he wants.
Who's going to stop them?
Exactly.
Especially,
Well, not only that, here's the difference though. You when Punk is on screen, he's making money. When Roman is on screen, he's generating money. Right now, when Cody Rhodes
Mhm.
is on screen, he's generating money. When The Rock
Yeah.
is on screen, he's generating money. When Akira Tozawa's on, and I'm not picking on Akira, but there's a better example. When Nick Wayne is on screen, you're spending money trying to convince people that you should watch him.
I was going to say who?
I rest my case. But even so, and actually, here's a fantastic example of how you do that right. Hook, and I'm even going to praise AEW for this. Because Hook went out there
Mhm.
with Team Taz a few times. Everybody's like, "Who's this Hook? Oh, it's Taz's
Yeah.
son. Okay, but he's not wrestling. So what's his deal?"
Yeah.
He was included with the money making act, so that you became acquainted with him. And then when he
Uh-huh.
had his debut match on Rampage, I believe it was,
Yeah, more likely.
you actually wanted to watch it. I know I
Hmm.
did, and I was impressed. Hook delivered.
Yeah, I really like him. I don't think he's going to grow that much more in AEW now, but
No, but
I'm not.
it's a very good place for him to be right now, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I mean Hook's already good, but he's just going to get more reps in. He's going to get more practice.
Yeah.
He strikes me as the kind of guy who will try to wrestle more than once a week, which Punk
Hmm.
also confirmed that there
Yeah.
are people in AEW who don't even want to wrestle once a week. And honestly, after that, I was on the fence about Jack Perry for a couple of reasons, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, fuck that guy.
I actually liked him at first,
I did
but
too.
it seems like a different person now. You know.
Well, I first started to have my doubts when I heard more than a couple of people talk about how he was at like fan meet and greets.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
heard rumors.
I'm just kind of
Hmm.
like, bro, like believe me, I can understand it. I
Hmm.
can understand how it can be frustrating and annoying. People always shoving stuff in your face, wanting you to sign it, wanting to talk to you. You get the same questions 1,000 times, but
Hmm.
You get paid a lot of money to be on TV once a week, once 1 to 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and you get to travel. And I understand travel can be grueling. I get it, but it's 1 to 3 times a week, and you're
Hmm.
getting paid that much. And then occasionally you have to sit through and interact with fans. What are you complaining about? Just really.
Yeah. It seemed like he didn't really actually want to be there, but he wanted to
Y-
be there. I don't know, for the fame only, but not anything else for the
y-
people
Yeah, well,
or fans.
there's a few hundred guys on the indies that would gladly take your spot for half
Oh
your
yeah,
pay
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and would love to have people asking for their autographs.
Hmm. And
So
could wrestle better.
see, that's the thing.
Tell a better story.
I don't think he's necessarily, yeah, tell a better story. Yeah, although he was
Yeah.
getting better.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
actually kind of liked him as FTW champ. He wasn't
Yeah.
quite
Uh-huh.
there yet in terms of acting like I still felt like he was acting, but he was getting there.
Yeah.
It was better than the Jungle Boy gimmick, which it was funny when he joined the company. I said at the time, I'm like, this is going to work now, but eventually he's going to have to become Jungle Man
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the boy gimmick, and then they actually, I said before they did it, but I was like, eventually, I don't remember the middle part of this, but I think I predicted it. They were going to start calling him Jungle Jack Perry,
Yeah. Yeah, and they did
and
it.
then just Jack Perry, which they did.
Yeah.
And I think it was Jim Ross referring to him as Jungle Boy Jack Perry or something like that. He was
Yeah,
referring
yeah.
to him by his name. That's got JR
Hmm.
written all over it because he probably came in there on day one and was like, "Kid, you can't be Jungle Boy forever.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you got to be Jack Perry. Why wouldn't you?" I can understand the logic of not wanting to coast on your family name at first, but once you've
Hmm.
gotten there, like it is your name, you know. But
Hmm.
I don't know. That may or may not ever be confirmed. But boy, speaking of Jack Perry, what he wanted to do on Collision was even dumber than I thought it was.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I
It's real
thought,
glass.
well, I thought he wanted to use like real glass on someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Which you don't get me wrong, that's stupid. But to to bust the windshield of a rental car with a pipe, why?
Yeah, it made no sense. And what Punk said was right. No, it messes up the rental car, the company, and everything else. The image of the company too.
Well, but not so there is that, and that's very very important.
Mm-hmm.
But just also the fact that why? Like, why? What possible good could come from that? And plus the risk of injury, like the doctor said, it could get in your eye, it could get in somebody else's eye. It will
Mm-hmm.
cut you if it touches you, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's a car windshield. It's not like you can tap it. You're going to have to beat it hard.
Yeah, yeah,
And
pretty much.
that came out wrong. You're going to have to hit it. You're going to have to hit it extremely hard with that pipe to get it to break, which, like, I could just imagine his arm going through it and getting cut. You know, like there's
Hmm.
no good's gonna come out of this if it gotten on Hook, because I'm assuming Hook would be in the car. I don't.
Yeah, Hook did get cut. Like when he went through it at Wembley, he did get cut really bad.
I pointed that
Yeah,
out when we were
yeah,
talking about it. I
yeah,
was like,
uh-huh.
and Hook got cut.
Yeah.
Real glass. Imagine that. There's a reason they use fake glass.
Hmm.
It's like there's stuff that's worth the risk, and then there's dumb shit.
And to me, the fake glass actually looks better
It
because it's
does.
less effort, you know?
Well, and you're
It,
guaranteed it will break because like
yeah.
my favorite thing is how people think that glass bottles will shatter if you hit something. They might, they
Uh-huh.
probably won't. They're very hard to break and they usually don't
Hmm.
shatter. They usually just break in 1 to 4 pieces. Like if you've
Yeah.
ever taken like an empty glass bottle of anything and thrown it, it usually
Hmm.
doesn't shatter
Yeah, yeah.
unless you
Not like,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's dangerous. That's
Hmm.
hugely dangerous. But yeah, so and then I'm convinced that CM Punk talks to Jim Cornette, but they do it on the down low because Punk didn't like Jim Cornette didn't want to get Punk in trouble because The account of what I had heard at Wembley on the Jim Cornette show was exactly what Punk said happened,
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, you're
like
right.
to the letter. So they either talked to Punk or actually, you know what? It's probably FTR.
And don't they have the same lawyer? I thought they have the same
Oh, you
lawyer
know
at
what?
Punk and.
I think they do. Yeah. But
Uh-huh.
Punk was rightfully saying like I'm not going to name names because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. But I'm like, it was FTR. You were totally hanging out with FTR. It's fine.
uh-huh.
You were hanging out with FTR and Danhausen. And I'd say the AEW roster was probably split about 50-50 as to who was happy Punk was there and those that were in the camp of the Buckaroos and
Mhm.
which I just don't get it, man. I don't understand it. Like if CM Punk came to my company and was going to work for my company, I'm like, what? Like, wow, you're going to make me a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were happy. It's just that they were friends with the Bucks, so they couldn't be happy, out loud without offending them. So I think most of them were happy he was there. It's just that they couldn't be like, "Oh yeah, Punk." We're glad he's here when they're friends with the Bucks.
Well, best of luck to Okada.
Ah, yeah,
No, he'll be fine. He's friends with the Bucks, but
yeah.
hopefully he just doesn't get crippled or anything. And then I read an article saying that, and I don't know if this is legit or not, so it's pure speculation. But I had read an article saying that Matt Hardy is entertaining a return to WWE once his AEW agreement is up.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I can see that happening, and I can see a lot of people wanting to go back to WWE. I see Brian Danielson going back, although I think, to be fair, I
Mhm.
think Brian Danielson is having fun. He's having fun right now.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I can see a lot. I don't see Mox going back though.
I think he's done. I think this is where he's going to retire.
Well, yeah, because he gets to go out there and have his
Yeah, but matches.
blood and guts matches. Yeah,
Yeah.
which hey, that's another thing. I don't get it, but I've had a number of
Mhm.
conversations with other people that are like big time deathmatch wrestling fans, and I'm just like, hey, man, I'm not one of them. I don't get it. I don't see why you would like not against having a death match when it's appropriate, but every single show, every single time.
Yeah, to me it's a little overkill, and it's like,
Well, it makes everything less. Although I guess speaking of deathmatch king Matt Cardona was on. Is he officially in AEW? I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna look that up real quick because I want to
Hmm.
say I seem to remember checking the roster page, but I might be Eat Wrestling. Although there might be hope. I saw a clip right before we started of Trent Beretta giving a Shining Wizard to Orange Cassidy, so they might actually. I and then plus two. Oh, wow. I'm glad I remembered this. AEW had some releases. The company that doesn't release people had a list of releases.
Yeah, it happened. I think after the interview, or like, or day after or
Yeah, sure.
so.
And I think that was
Hmm.
coincidence, but
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. He was like, "I'll be a real boss today."
well, they got a new CFO or I'm sorry, they got a new COO.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah, I did see that.
so I think that might have had something to do with it. Well, if your website would load, here we go. Let's see, where would you be? Gotta go all the way down to the M's. I still don't know why Luchasaurus is kill switch.
Yeah.
He's still wearing a fucking dinosaur mask. It's not the name that bothers me, it's the fact that he's still wearing the dinosaur mask.
I thought when he like turned heel, it was done for, and he was like gonna rip it off, but nope, they doubled down on it. Some guy
Okay,
named
no, Matt Cardona is not officially on.
I never even heard of this guy. Slim J. They
Slim.
released him.
Oh, have you
Never
got
heard
the
of him.
list?
Yes, Slim J. Anthony Henry. Have no idea who that is. What's his name? Just for it. The boys. Uh,
They released the boys.
yeah, just Stu Grayson for the second time.
I'm sorry. I'm
uh,
sorry. I don't. I do legitimately apologize for that. I don't. I, I don't. I don't mean to. I'm not making light of the misfortune of somebody losing their employment. But for when you said the second time, I was just like, why don't you hire him back?
yeah. uh, Gravity.
Oh,
Never heard
really?
of him. Yeah. Also,
I'd.
Parker Bordeaux. Oh, that's the Brock Lesnar lookalike. They fired
Oh,
him
yeah.
finally. Yeah.
You look too much like Brock Lesnar, kid. We can't have that.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked because, like, I was hoping he'll be like their Brock or something. Like, he looked like him, but that's about it.
Well, yeah, but now that triggers too many people in their audience.
Yeah, I guess. He
Well, I
was
don't
let
know.
go from WWE too, so I don't know where he's gonna go.
He can go to Japan and be fine for a while, and then end up in
That's true.
WWE. You got anything to add? There's so much we could talk about with CM Punk, but we do want to get to WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
But
true.
anything you want to add? I'm trying to rack my brain and see. I mean, CM Punk, he didn't so much tease the return of AJ Lee, but he pretty much said no, it's not going to happen, but he would like it to happen.
Hmm. It's not much. I can't remember. The most thing I was shocked about, they didn't pay for his like surgery or help him with that part. That was a
Yeah,
little shocking.
yeah,
That
that
was the
was
most
wild.
thing.
That it was very shocked because initially
Mhm.
AEW kept touting like, yeah, we're gonna give health insurance and we're not gonna do releases and
Yeah, yeah,
we're gonna blah 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 blah. We're gonna have employees and not and then all that went sports based presentation and that all went out the window
yeah.
immediately.
Plus, it's like when he first came there, he was talking about how injured he was in WWE and how they didn't help him. So it's like, it's kind of the same.
It was totally a different administration, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I do find it funny because I've listened to this interview a couple of times because it's just entertaining, and I also did the same thing when Punk was on Colt Cabana's podcast and kind of did the tell all of when he left WWE
Oh,
the first time,
yeah.
and it's interesting. I can tell which Punk's older than me, so take this with a massive grain of salt. You can hear it in the way he talks, though. Punk has matured a lot. Not to say he was immature at the time, but just compared to then to now,
Hmm.
you can tell he's a lot more laid back.
And he's more reserved. Like
Yeah,
he's letting things go in a way. Not when he was talking to Colt, you could tell he was still getting mad about situations and stuff.
that tells me though, because Punk has buried the hatchet with a lot of people. That tells me that some really wild
Yeah.
crap went down, and I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know what happened, but what I do know is that oftentimes when a lot of money gets involved in a situation, one way or another, it changes a lot of people.
That's true.
It's very, and I'm not even necessarily faulting those people because it's very hard to say no to a few $1 million.
Yep.
It's very difficult to say no to, and when it's a real thing, it's easy to say no when it's not a real possibility.
Uh-huh.
But also when you owe a lot of money and you think you have a way to get it, I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying like debt is very, very scary, especially in that sort of context. And I'm sure Colt
Yeah.
Cabana felt like he was, this is just my theory. I'm sure Colt Cabana felt like he was just along for the ride for this and didn't really understand why he was part of these legal proceedings and a defamation
Hmm.
lawsuit, and probably felt that Punk should have paid for a lot, if not all of the legal fees involved, blah, 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 blah. I know that was the major bone of contention
Uh-huh.
between the two of them. I don't know what else happened, and we probably never will, but I digress. Yeah. But yeah, it was wild. So we found out, we were confirmed that Tony Khan is not a boss. That company is not run with the goal of making money. It
I
doesn't seem
really
to
don't think
be.
it's going to be around like in the next 10 years. I don't think it's going to
Well, he said
either.
something that was
So
very telling. He said it'll be around as long as Tony Khan is there and wants to put money into it.
yeah, which means they lose the money. So
I don't even know. I won't even go so far as to say they're losing money per se, although they
mhm,
probably are. But
mhm,
even if they weren't, like, let's just assume they are making a profit. Like, let's say they're making a $10 million profit annually. It
uh-huh,
could be 100 because they just wrestling is so counterintuitively simple.
mhm,
Like, case in point, WWE right now. Like, if you have the right talent, which AEW's got all the talent in the world, they've got a great roster and they've got young, hungry people, and you just have to put them
mhm,
together in the right combination. They had CM Punk, they had Cody Rhodes, and they fucked it up both times. I guess that's probably the most frustrating thing when it comes to Punk. I even said this at the time. I was like, you didn't even screw up the deal. I mean, you had him in your company.
mhm,
You had him signed to a contract and you screwed that up by not being the adult in the room. That's purely what happened. I'm not even saying you had to fire the Bucks, but or Kenny or the Elite, but
uh-huh.
just sit him down and like, listen, you guys made me $1 million. This guy is going to make me $100 million. So shut up and get on the ride
Mhm.
or get out.
I know even was it, Edge was saying that a lot of people just don't take his advice and they don't want his no talent or expertise, which is just weird. He's Edge, you know.
When Adam Copeland
Mhm.
gives you advice for professional wrestling, you shut up and you listen.
Yeah,
It's Edge.
I don't get that part.
Like I mean, geez, even if the Brooklyn Brawler gave me advice, I would listen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, say what you will. I mean, I have mad respect for the Brooklyn Brawler.
Mhm.
I mean, he was in WWE for what, 30 years?
Yeah.
And dependable. Colt Cabana played him in Young Rock, by the way. Fun little Easter egg.
Oh, he did? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't watch.
Yeah, Young Rock is one of those shows where they either get the actors playing people, they either get it 100% or like not at all.
Uh-huh.
The only exception might be Stone Cold, where they got the voice right, but not the actor was not as
Yeah,
grizzled,
yeah,
let's say.
yeah. I saw like clips of it. It was like, that's not Stone Cold.
God damn, that doesn't look anything like Stone Cold. What? Well, before we hop over to WrestleMania, oh, Brian said no to something. I don't know what he was referring to. Before we hop over to WrestleMania, Hakeem, have you ever wanted to commemorate an accomplishment in your life, but just didn't know exactly how you should do it? You felt like it deserved some kind of, I don't know, an award or trophy or even a championship belt to commemorate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks to our friends at Trophy Smack, if you have such an occasion, they've made it more. Yeah, they've made it easier than ever to do just that. Case in point, the Podcast of the Year belt that
That's really
any
cool.
that anyone in the Arte Podcast Network can win. If you win Podcast of the Year and you're in our network, you get a customized championship belt with your podcast design and colors. As you can see, this one's the Arte Podcast, which I was very flattered to win. I did not vote for myself, and
Sure.
no, I didn't. I swear. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I know who did vote for me. One of which vehemently denies it, but I know him. He's a softie at heart. And I mean, look how shiny that is. Look at that.
I know,
Look at
that's
that.
awesome.
Look at that. You can even make it
I-
flare in there. But they don't just do custom belts, they also do custom trophies, trophy plaques, and if you're into fantasy football, they have a lot of pre made, non custom fantasy football awards that you can get, including awards for the losers. So everyone can be a winner with Trophy Smack. And if you are interested in checking them out, please use the link in the description. It helps the podcast out. And check out what they have to offer. And if you'd like to win a Podcast of the Year award, reach out to me on Instagram and we can see if we can make that happen for you. But I guess while we're talking about Trophy Smack, I'll let everybody on this podcast know too. If you're not familiar, we did an old kind of fun championship, which I'm not going to lie, I totally ripped off the Being the Elite championship in the
Uh-huh.
concept. But we retired that championship when our friend Benji died, because he was the last champion and it didn't feel right to take it
Hmm.
away from him. So we made a new one. Also,
Oh, that's
thanks to our
cool.
friends at Trophy Smack. So we're going to actually revive this and make this competitive in the very near future. We're basically waiting on my other co-host Eric to get over his ailment to make that happen. But this will be available for competition for basically everyone. So that'll be fun. But jeez, those things are heavy. Those belts are every bit of 6 pounds.
Yeah, I'm on the website right now. They're pretty good.
There. I will say this.
The-
And when you make your custom belt, it's actually really fun to do because there's a lot of
uh-huh.
customization there. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, I knew it was going to look good, but I was legitimately surprised when I got the belts how good these look.
Yeah.
Like, and everything's full color too. You can do black and white images, or like I said, you saw with this belt, this is full color. You know, every bit of that.
I'm impressed with the black and white part because like it came out so well. It looks like it.
It did, yeah. And they're very, very fast too. I was surprised how quick it
Uh-huh.
was. And then, of course, I had little plaques made, which testament to the affordability. When I did
Hmm.
the first ever Arte Media Awards were in January of this year, and I told everybody it came together at the last minute in December, so I told everybody it was just going to be digital awards. But
Hmm.
honestly, they were so inexpensive. I went ahead and got everybody award plaques that won.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
trophysmack.com, definitely check them out. They're a very cool company, very, very helpful. If you have any questions, they're easy to get a hold of. I can't speak highly enough for them, which is why they're a sponsor of this podcast. But now it's Wrestlemania time. And once again, the same general disclaimer. I do not know if this is the order in which the matches will be in, but this is how they are listed. And honestly, here lately, they have been in this order, so we shall see.
Hmm.
So night one, the first match, they have Rhea Ripley defending her Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch. Not gonna lie, think Rhea's gonna keep it.
I would hope so.
Yeah, she's too hot right now.
Uh-huh. If she
I
loses it, like what else is next for her then? Like
Exactly.
where
Yeah,
does she
what's she
go,
gonna do? Yeah, I
Like
agree. Yeah, 100%. And
uh-huh.
Becky doesn't need a belt, but she's a
No, not
great
at all.
opponent. So this seems
Uh-huh.
tailor made to just elevate Rhea Ripley more. I
Yeah.
wonder though, I wonder who they are gonna have eventually, because Rhea Ripley will eventually lose that title.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I was thinking Jade, but she's too fresh, too new.
I mean, maybe I don't. So okay, so we'll touch on Jade later, but I have thoughts because we did see Jade in action on
Yeah.
SmackDown.
Uh-huh.
So we'll definitely touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, like you, I think Rhea Ripley's going to keep it. I think it'll be a killer
Yeah,
match though.
absolutely. I
Um,
think it'll elevate both of them,
yep,
like and Becky too. See her.
yeah, 100%. It's just going to make both of them look even better.
Uh-huh.
Next match we have in a very disappointing change of events. We have Gunther defending his Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn. I really wanted it to be Dom.
Same
Maybe
here.
maybe next pay-per-view. But that being said, I think Gunther's going to keep it.
Oh yeah, like honestly, I didn't really want him to like have a match. I just wanted him like to get rid of the belt or like throw it at them.
Yeah, we
Say I
talked
don't
about
want
that.
it. Yeah, like,
We talked
but
about that
yeah.
last time, which they might
Mm.
do. I would still like that to be the case.
Mhm.
Which actually I think that would be better for Gunther because we talked about
It
how
would be.
Oscar did it. I think that should happen
Yeah.
more with the lower titles because we talked about it back then. You
Yeah.
know, it never really made sense where somebody loses a match and then gets promoted,
Hmm.
you know. But yeah, I think Gunther, which again, it'll be a good match because I mean, I'm not crapping on Sami Zayn at all.
No.
But I mean, this was barely built up, so we'll see. Um, this next match, honestly, this feels like it was thrown together. Which we have a six. So the fact that this is a ladder match means this isn't going to annoy me because I hate tornado tag team matches. I mean, I
Same
hate
here.
them. I hate the rules don't make any sense. It's so dumb.
Hmm.
But since it's a ladder match, it's basically just going to be a free for all. But we got the Judgment Day consisting of Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against DIY, Awesome Truth, New Day, A Town Down Under, a Town Down Under, consisting of that's what it says. It's a Town Down Under,
Town down.
which
Mm.
is Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus New Catch Republic, which is Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Which congratulations to
Oh,
Pete
okay,
Dunne.
okay. Yeah.
Which
You guys' name.
congratulations for Pete Dunne getting his name back.
Yep.
Um, honestly, looking at this, I think Judgment Day will retain.
I would think so, or I kind of hope they'll like keep Judgment Day strong, but
Well, all
I
the
don't know.
all these other tag teams were kind of thrown together. I mean, New Day's
That's
been
true.
around, but they haven't really been a part of anything. DIY is
Hmm.
off and on.
Hmm.
Awesome Truth rejoined not that long ago. I think A Town Down Under just got together
Yeah.
and New Catch Republic within a few months. Like, so
If
yeah.
they do lose, I think it's gonna be our truth. If they do lose.
Actually, yes, because the only reason they might lose is because they're kind of hinting at some fracturing in Judgment Day because the
Yeah,
whole
they are.
business with Dom and
Dom
LWO.
and Charlie. Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I think that storyline will be a thing, but I think it'll be a thing later.
Hmm.
So yeah, I see Judgment Day. And then we have a match that might be the sleeper hit of the night: Jay versus Jimmy Uso.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
This is going to be awesome.
Hmm.
And we've already talked about this. I could see either one winning it. Um, in my own head, what I would like to see is Jay decisively win the match, but not be able to bring himself to hurt his brother, and then Solo or somebody will.
Yeah, yeah. I have a feeling it's gonna be that way. Like
Yeah,
he has him down or something,
yeah,
and like the ref takes a bump, and then
yeah,
Solo comes. It also may be like a change for Solo. He may side with Jay.
yeah,
I don't
because
know.
Jimmy's weak now or something.
Yeah,
What I
yeah,
would
yeah.
honestly, if I had my druthers, I would have liked to have seen these guys fight previously, and then the WrestleMania match be a last man standing match.
Yeah.
But it'll still be good. Like I'm not taking anything away.
Mhm.
Like I said, I predict Jimmy will win, but in the manner that we previously talked
Yeah.
about,
Uh-huh.
but either by cheating or Jay simply not being able to bring himself to hurt his brother.
Yeah. I can see that. Him like holding up a chair or something at the
Yeah, and
last
just
minute.
not being able
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. Mm.
So next, we said we were going to talk about Jade Cargill. We've got Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control's Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. How do I? Okay, so I want to kind of bring up something that I've noticed, but I want to put it delicately because I hope I'm reading it wrong. Is it just me, or is WWE making a lot of stables that are, how should we say, racially homogenous?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like it seems to
Yeah.
be happening more and more because not only that,
Yeah.
like honestly, when I saw Bianca, Naomi, and Jade in the ring together, I was just like,
Mm.
again, because it already
Yeah.
seemed that way with Damage Control with Asuka and Kyrie joining. Now I know Dakota and Bailey were there too at the time, but it was just kind
Yeah,
of like,
but they did kick out Bailey.
yeah, and I think Dakota is not long for that world. And then I mean the
Yeah.
LWO, which again that kind of makes sense, but
Yeah, it does.
there's other examples too. Like you have what did they call Bobby Lashley's new team now? The Pack,
Oh, I have no idea.
which I guess before that,
Stop.
which I saw that earlier, and I'm like, really? And then before that, they had the Hurt
Yeah.
Business. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I hope I'm reading that the wrong way, but
No, no, you're not. You're not.
I'm
That's how
seeing
it's
it
been for a while.
I'm seeing it happen, which I guess historically, I mean, the Nation of Domination,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess historically it's not that odd. It just seems like there's a lot of these groups popping up at the same time.
Hmm. It does. It reminds me of that group. I forgot what was it. It was like Rusev and Sheamus
Oh,
and
see, I loved that though.
yeah, I know, but it was like the evil UN or something like that.
I love because honestly, because that was so on the nose, it was just funny. What did they call themselves? It wasn't the
What
United
was it?
Nations.
No, it wasn't, but that's what I
That
used to
was
call
funny.
them.
I actually liked it. I actually like the evil UN.
The UN Empire or something like that. I don't
That was good shit.
know.
But yeah, so to set this match up, we did get to see Jade not in a proper match, but I find this so funny because I expressed not concern, but I basically said if Jade can do her finishing move, Jaded,
Yeah,
effectively,
yeah, yeah.
she'll be in a match at WrestleMania. And
Uh-huh.
what did she do?
Yep.
She did her finishing move, the best I've ever seen it.
Hmm.
She did her push kick, the best I've ever seen it. Everything looked
Yeah,
substantially better. And I was like, okay, she might
yeah,
actually be ready.
yeah. You could tell she put the work in, like it
Yeah.
was practice.
And she's in a tag match, so it's not like she's going to be in there the whole time.
Uh
So,
huh.
but yeah, I'm there for it. So I predict we will see Bianca, Jade, and Naomi take the victory on this one.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Just because Jade and Bianca are in there, so they're building Bianca back up for something. I think this is laying the groundwork for the Bianca Jade match. I really do.
I think they'll win and then like turn on each other right afterwards,
I don't even know that they'll
or
do it
close
that
to it.
early. Yeah.
Um,
I think you're gonna see what starts out as a friendly rivalry.
yeah, yeah, like one up each other, and
Yeah.
then you know,
And then it might be fun, like I don't know if you were watching wrestling then, but when MVP and Matt Hardy were doing their kind of rivalry thing,
I briefly remember that.
that was so much
Uh,
fun.
yeah, the closest to that I remember was Sierra Deep and Mercedes, or I forgot her name. It was from AEW. Sierra Deep
Oh, Serena Deeb
and
and
Serena Deep.
was it Hikaru
Martinez?
Shida? Oh yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was a lady.
Well, she was kind of Mercedes Martinez, yeah, but
Yeah, 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 that was. Yeah.
Serena Deeb was kind of doing something similar to that. I agree that Mercedes was better. Their
Yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah,
thing was
yeah,
better, but she was doing
yeah, yeah.
something similar with Hikaru Shida, which that wasn't bad. It was some of Serena.
Oh, okay.
It was good work.
You're right. You're right. I remember.
It was weird for me seeing Serena Deeb be a heel though at the time,
Yeah.
but now I'm fine with it. But yeah, I predict Team Jade because again, it's pretty obvious they're building Jade up. It makes sense to do so.
Hmm.
Look at her, like, but we shall see. But that's what I predict, which moves us on to the other racial group, the LWO, is Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee are fighting Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. My prediction is Ray and Lee will lose, but because Judgment Day will interfere.
Yeah, I think it's obvious they have to lose. Yeah.
But Dragon Lee, I mean, I've been a fan of Dragon Lee since I first saw him in New Japan, so it's cool to see
Uh-huh.
him here. Even though I don't hold the fact that he almost killed Takahashi, I don't hold that
Oh,
against
yeah,
him.
yeah.
That was a freak accident.
Hmm.
I just remember watching that match. I was watching that match live, and when that happened, I went, "Oh,
Oh, I saw it after the fact, but still,
ooh."
same reaction.
Yeah." I was like, "Oh," or to quote Shane Gillis, "Oh." But yeah, so I predict that will be the case. And then the main event for night one, which I would like to remind everybody, WrestleMania night one, only 7 matches, which is actually high for a WWE pay per view.
Yeah, it's
This
true.
is this is midway through an AEW pay per view.
Yeah,
This is halfway
10
there.
hours.
With the scrum, honestly, it is.
Yeah.
We have the bloodline because God, the people are going to be losing their shit for this. The Rock and Roman Reigns representing the bloodline versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. If Rhodes and Rollins win, all the members of the bloodline will be barred from ringside during the Universal Championship match on night two. If Rock and Reigns win, the championship match on night two will be held under bloodline rules, which means the bloodline can do whatever they want.
Yeah, The Rock wins.
Yeah, which we
Like,
predicted that even before the
it has to be.
stipulation.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
because
yeah.
again, it sets up even if you're gonna have your babyface lose, right? The
Hmm.
heels cannot go in at a deficit.
Exactly.
The babyface has to go in at a deficit. And this is perfect
Mhm.
because if it's good storyline no matter what the ending is. Because if Cody wins, he overcomes more odds. If they keep the
Exactly.
championship on Roman, Cody saves face because, well, I mean, it was bloodline rules, man.
That's true. They could have it out
Yeah,
and say,
and
well, they
we,
had to cheat to win.
yeah,
They couldn't be honestly.
and this honestly could be very good because those of you that watch the show, you know that we've already kind of hashed out at least my changed feelings on the outcome of this match, the main event on night two.
Yeah.
And I
Uh-huh.
think Roman should win, but this could be a really really cool storytelling opportunity for Cody because there were speculation that they were going to be repeating the hard time storyline with his dad. Well,
Hmm.
they didn't quite do that all the way. They're hinting at it though, because
Yeah,
you
big
you
time.
notice. I don't know how Cody managed to make sure the blood got over his eye when he was doing that business with The Rock,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but I'm telling you right now, I don't know how, but he did it on purpose. Because you know what I saw when I was watching that?
Uh-huh.
I saw Dusty.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I saw Dusty Rhodes. And I don't mean that as like a knockoff. I mean that's what I saw. I was like, "Oh, I think they might really be going for the hard time storyline because
Yeah.
if you're going to go for hard times, Cody has to hit rock bottom. It's got to be so bad that he wonders, why did I even come back?" I think this could be really really good.
It will be. I almost
Yeah.
guarantee it's going to be. Well, it has to
And
be.
yeah, but here's and this is the best part. If Cody wins, great.
Hmm.
I'll still be happy. It'll be cool. Cody will have won the big one. I'm fine with it. I'm fine either way. For obvious reasons of legacy, I think that Roman should win, but again, I'm not going to be like mad or anything.
Uh-huh.
What I have learned from WWE as of late, and it's specifically with Cody Rhodes, is I no longer assume that WWE is dumb. I assume I'm dumb.
I assume they have like a few talented people, mainly for the main story, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, what I mean, well, okay, yeah, let's not get carried away. But what I mean by that is every time I was like, oh, over the past, at least the past year, every time I've been like, oh, they really screwed this up. Little bit down the road, I'm like, oh, no, they didn't.
Mhm,
Because this is even better than what I thought. So with WWE,
mhm.
I've kind of learned they have let me be able to just be a fan again and just enjoy the ride, which is what I've been
Yeah,
doing.
pretty much.
And it's so great because now like The Rock is back and I get to enjoy The Rock and it doesn't really matter what he's doing. CM Punk's
Hmm.
back. I just get to enjoy watching what they're doing
Yeah,
at every turn. Gunther's the same way. Like I'm loving it.
yeah. Yeah, he is my one of my new favorites now. I can't wait to see how he grows and becomes world champion one day.
I just can't believe they're getting away with some of the imagery that they use with Gunther. But again, it, the
Oh
reason
yeah, yeah,
the,
that's true. Yeah,
I mean like if you know, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the reason that's got to be the reason they're able to get away. And like okay, not to get onto history tangent, but I mean, guys, Gunther is from Austria, but he's the leader of the Imperium. Uh,
Exactly.
Kaiser is German and he even has Kaiser in his name, and then the other guy's from Italy, but he's kind of the joke of the three. Like,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're one step away. You just name the guy Mussolini, and you're there, right? I mean, and I mean the imagery they use, even the
The
poses, like
coats, you know.
the coats, right?
Like I've
I
seen
mean,
them before.
yeah, I mean the haircut to a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if Gunther grew a little mustache, we'd be a little too close for comfort. I mean, and I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that they know what they're doing and they're towing that line, man, because honest, it's one of those things where if you know, you know, but if you don't know, they're still imposing, they're still a force to be reckoned with. They're all European from that general area.
Yeah, if this was the 90s, I think they would.
Ooh,
Yeah, I really think they would push it a little further.
ooh. If this were the 80s, they'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Actually, no, if this were the 80s, Hulk Hogan would come out and be
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Mr. Gunther turns on this wall. Oh, but I mean, I love watching it though, because every time they get a little closer, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
ooh, I don't know, fellas. But so anyway, night two. Apparently, the first match is going to be, which actually this makes sense, which tells me Seth is going to be involved in the main event, which is another reason why I know Roman and Rock are going to win because Seth is defending his title against Drew McIntyre in the first match of night two.
Okay. Mhm.
Which I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know who's going to win this one because it could go either way and be fine, in my opinion.
Oh, I would say Drew. 100% Drew. Drew.
So I agree, but here's why. And this is
Uh-huh.
this is assuming that Cody wins the belt.
Mhm.
So Seth loses to Drew, right?
Yeah.
And in Seth's mind, he's not going to say this, but in Seth's mind, he's going to say this if things pan out the way I'm laying out here. This is what Seth is going to do opening promo on Monday Night Raw the following day.
Uh-huh.
So he's thinking it's like I lost my title because I was busy screwing around with all this Cody bloodline crap. I should have just stayed in my lane. Drew was right. I should have just kept focused on my thing. So,
Uh-huh.
oh no, I'm sorry. This isn't if Cody wins. So this is if, oh, I think I know what's going to happen. So Seth's going to lose to Drew.
Oh, Damien?
No, Seth's
Oh.
going to lose to Drew. And then it's going to be Bloodline Rules and Cody's match. Seth's going to come
Mhm.
out and help get rid of the bloodline. But then
Mhm.
when Cody's about to pin Roman, Seth's gonna curb stomp him,
That's good.
and then
That's real
Roman's
good.
gonna Roman's gonna pin him. And what would
Mhm.
be really great is if Seth dragged Roman on top of Cody. But I don't. I think now that makes Roman look too weak. So yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen, man.
That would be good.
That's gonna be awesome if that is what happens. That's gonna be
Uh-huh.
so great. That place is gonna riot, dude.
I kind of think I
If
wanted it to happen, to be honest.
I want it to be, I'll be
Uh-huh.
honest with you though.
Mhm.
If that happens and people aren't throwing garbage in the ring, I'm gonna be a little disappointed.
Yep. Or a
Oh
chicken.
man. Or somebody throws a gobbledygook doll in there, gobbledygooker doll in there.
Yeah. We're at Cody
Oh
again.
man, that would be sick, dude. Great. Now I'm gonna be watching every match being like, uh-huh, uh-huh, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so yeah, in order for that to happen, Drew McIntyre has to win. And I think that's a good Seth did a really good job, honestly, better than I expected of getting that title as a running start. And I think Drew can keep
Mhm.
that momentum going.
Yeah, I do.
and
I agree.
eventually lead to Punk winning it and giving it even that much more. Like they can make this belt legit,
Uh-huh.
and thus far they're doing it right. So the next match is supposed to be Io Sky defending her women's championship against Bailey, We've known this was coming for a long time. This has played
Yeah,
out
it's
almost
that way.
exactly
Yeah.
the way we've said it.
Uh-huh.
I said, somebody commented on, I posted the short where I said Bailey was going to win so hard on TikTok, and somebody was like, I was actually proud of my rebuttal. Somebody said, "How can somebody win hard?" And I replied back the same way you can turn a phrase. I was proud of that. But yeah, Bailey's going to win so freaking hard.
She is.
It's going to be a great match, though.
Yeah, I'm happy for Belly too.
Yeah,
Like she deserves it.
it's time. You know,
Yeah.
the way they've woven the story coming back from injury with Damage Control, which again, this is just evidence of the new WWE as far as I'm concerned. And I
Hmm.
think Damage Control will still be a thing, but I think it will slowly become a Japanese only stable.
Oh yeah.
It's coming.
It's already almost there.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, and I still maintain,
mm,
even though they've hinted at the opposite happening, to me this just seems like a bait and switch. I think you're going to see Dakota Kai because Dakota Kai is supposed to be the referee, isn't she? Although they didn't
oh,
list that.
uh I think she is.
Yeah, I think she
It's
is.
possible.
They
Uh-huh.
didn't list that in the stipulations though, but I remember that.
Hmm.
I think you're going to see Dakota ultimately side with Bailey,
Hmm.
um, which just for justice,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But yeah, I like I said, we think Bailey's going to win. Um, this is where the card changes a bit. So we now have a singles match between LA Knight and AJ Styles, which I don't hate.
Hmm.
I think it'll be good.
I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be like the weakest match so far, maybe, but
So,
I still want to see it.
yeah, I still want to see it. I'm curious. I honestly think LA Knight will win, but it'll
Uh-huh.
be good just because of how they've been building him up. If this was thrown together, it could be anybody's night,
Hmm.
but it's going to be LA's night. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we've got Logan Paul defending the U.S. title against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. This is another one. I kind of,
Yeah, never mind. I'd rather see the AJ match. Logan. I mean
I
with
mean, it'll be a
what's
good
wrong?
match, and I'm going to
Yeah,
call a spot. We're going to see Logan Paul do some kind of jumping maneuver into an RKO. It's going to happen
yeah.
because, I mean, it's there. It's gift wrapped for you.
Hmm.
Um, I don't really know, nor do I particularly care who wins this match. But if I had to
Randy?
take, no, I'm gonna say Kevin.
Really?
I don't know why. Just they've been hinting at Kevin and Logan having a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only reason. Like I said, I wouldn't, and I think it's time that Logan loses that title. I just don't see much more what he can do with
Mhm.
it.
That's true.
Oh,
And
plus Logan's
uh,
Logan's got the fight coming up in July,
oh yeah, yeah.
which I forgot about that.
Wait,
So
he
even
has a
though
fight coming up?
Well, okay, so it's my understanding that the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson,
Hmm.
I've seen on more than one place there's a stipulation that Jake can tag in his brother.
Really?
I don't know if that's real, but I've read it in more than one place, and some of them are legitimate sources, so to me
It's comedy.
that sounds really well, let's be real here. It's the only prayer Jake Paul has of winning that fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that's it. And honestly, I don't want to see Mike Tyson knock them both out. Like, I'm sorry, why would you get into a boxing ring with Mike Tyson? I
Money.
mean, that's yeah, it's
Yeah, like they both win. He gets money and Mike gets money and supplements that he's selling or something like that.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm calling Kevin Owens, but I mean, I'm barely calling Kevin Owens.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I'm sorry. This name makes me laugh so hard. Um, Bobby Lashley's group, the Pride, not the Pack. It was the Pride. I know, right? I just see that.
Oh
I
man.
just imagine Bobby Lashley with with them in
Yeah.
the locker room being like, "We're Lions."
Yeah. I'm thinking of something else.
The Pride consisting of Bobby Lashley and Private Party before Private Party with B Fab.
uh,
Which I'm just sitting here. Isn't Montez Ford is married to Bianca Belair? Yeah.
Bianca. Yeah.
Why the fuck is B Fab there?
Mm.
It doesn't make any sense. Like literally, the only thing BFAB has in common with the other guys is the fact that like they all just happen to be black. That's it.
Exactly. That's it.
And I'm
So I
just
guess
kind of
that's
like,
why.
see, I'd be the guy in the writers room being like, guy, like I'm not saying it is racist, but it kind of feels racist.
Like why everybody has to be put in that group. you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, we
But
need a group where they all have something in common. It's like, well, we got Bobby Lashley, and let's put them together with the Street Profits. Like, oh, okay, yeah, like I get it. They're all like they're champions, former champions, yeah. And
yeah.
B Fab in there. Hold on a minute. I didn't know that was the thing that was in common with everybody.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm shocked she's still there. It, like, I
She's
don't know
she's
why. She doesn't even wrestle.
like maybe. Well, to be fair, neither did Top Dollar, but
Flop dollar.
he,
I would never call him top dollar.
you said it, not me. I remember there was one time apparently he injured himself doing a basic move, and Jim Cornette just could not keep his composure when he was talking about it.
Yeah.
It was like he fucking tripped over his own foot. He tripped over nothing. But yeah, and they're facing the Final Testament, which this group actually makes sense. Karrion Cross and the Authors of Pain with
Uh-huh.
Scarlett and Paul Ellering. This actually makes sense. Like this
Yeah, it
is
does.
working.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really know who's going to win this one. It's a Philadelphia street fight though, so I'm gonna have to say the Final Testament.
Yeah, yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like it. They're building up too much not to
and
win.
and my like I this is a hot take, and I know a lot of people disagree with me. I don't get the Street Profits. I don't get it.
I liked it done somewhat, but when I first saw them, I was like, why? It was like we got Crime Time, we got
Prime
the
Time was
Street Profits.
awesome.
They were, but it's like they're trying to recreate that again, and
Yeah,
it just didn't work for them. You know?
but it's soft.
Yeah, yeah,
It's soft.
exactly. Yeah,
It's soft Crime
yes,
Time.
yes,
And I'm sorry, Crime Time was the shit, man. I
it
loved
was.
Crime Time. Like God, that should not have been as entertaining as it was. But I
Maybe
mean,
selling
oh,
stuff like.
jeez, I forgot. That's what it was. It was just fun. Like offensive as hell,
Yeah,
but it was fun.
yeah.
I mean, but like, I mean, come on. Remember Eugene?
Yeah, I remember.
There's a great interview, and I feel bad because I know his name, his real name, and I'm spacing it. But he basically tells the story of how Eugene happened, and he was like sitting in the room, and he's like, "Are you guys fucking serious? Like, what was that conversation like?"
The
Actually, I
90s was
imagine,
wild.
yeah, I I imagine it went very much. I'm thinking of two other conversations, both of which I've heard the behind the scenes stories. I'm thinking of when Dustin Rhodes recounts the conversation that would become Gold Dust, and he was like,
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah.
and
And
he's like,
drowning this.
it's like I get, he's like, I didn't know what that was, so I just said, yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah.
And oh God, you want to talk about offensive? I'm like, maybe I'm an asshole. I am an asshole, but I still watch old Gold Dust when he had air quotes Tourette's, and that's still some of the
Oh
funniest
yeah,
shit
yeah.
I've ever.
It
It's
really
because
is.
he committed to it. So he just didn't let up. That's why it was funny. You know. And I mean, it wasn't actually Tourette's. Like, you can't be offended by that because that's not how Tourette's works. Like, it's he didn't have Tourette's. He was crazy. Like from the crackles. That shit was funny. And then the other one, which this is so Luke Gallows has a gift for storytelling. for for those of you who don't remember Jesse and Festus,
Oh yeah, I had no idea that was Blue
oh,
Gallows. I had
oh
no idea.
man. I remember because I actually went to a
Yeah.
SmackDown when they were just starting to get on TV and they were advertised for that night. The crowd was chanting, "We want Festus." I'm not even joking, but he recounts the story because if you remember, Jesse wore a very, very prominently yellow singlet.
Yellow. Yeah, I remember.
And I, he talks about the story. He's like, we were sitting in with Vince. He was like, "What's your favorite color?" And then Jesse goes, yeller. And he's like, "This guy a yellow singlet." And then, and then apparently later he was like, "I don't even really like yellow that much." It's like, why did you say it? And he was like, "I want you to make your dumbest face." And he makes it dumber, dumber. That's it. And when the bell rings, you turn into a raging maniac. Which it was fun.
It
It was
was. It
stupid, but
actually
it was
worked.
fun. I mean, because
I actually
again,
liked it.
but again, he owned it. He literally was like this until the bell rang.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
and then the bell rang, and he was just shit was great.
Yep.
I remember
It's like
once
he
in the
turned to that other
yeah.
guy. I
Well, I
forgot.
remember, I remember they did this more than once, but a couple times during the middle of a match, somebody else in the on the other tag team would go and ring the bell to turn him off.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I
That
remember.
was
Yeah.
that was great. That was hilarious. But then match 6, the main event of night 2. Roman Reigns defends the undisputed Universal Championship against the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Um, I mean, we've been over this so many times. I think we both have repeatedly said what we think will happen, and I just laid out what I think will happen, kind of
Uh-huh.
hoping for it. And oh, what match was Punk supposed to? Oh, Punk is doing commentary, which we also called. Punk is doing commentary on the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
And we'll also see if Conor McGregor hosts, which they didn't mention it, not that I saw, but that was another rumor.
Hmm. Oh yeah, it
So,
was. Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I finally did watch Roadhouse though. If you want just dumb popcorn entertainment, it's the movie for you. But
I gotta watch it soon.
I mean, Conor McGregor's role kind of comes off a little bit funnier than it should, in my opinion, but it's because he's just hamming it up and he's having a blast.
Uh huh.
But we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited for WrestleMania.
Same.
Will be a good one. But now I got to go watch Dynamite and see what happened with old Pockets and the Puddin Gang. See what caused that.
I haven't
See what
watched that in
caused.
such a while.
Dude, I'm not even.
It's,
I just honestly, it's not that I don't want to watch it. It's just that it's no longer must watch television for me.
exactly.
And I'm I'm a busy guy. I got stuff to do, and it just flies under my radar, and I just don't feel the need to catch up. I always say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'll catch it next week."
Hmm. And this builds up.
And it's been a
Yeah.
couple of months.
Yeah.
And before I know it, I'm like, "Oh God, yeah, I haven't watched AEW in a minute."
Uh-huh.
I think it's been over 2 years since I purchased an AEW pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, same for me. Oh yeah, same. I just watch like clips on YouTube and that's about it.
Which again, I've complained about that too. It's like you wonder why
Mhm.
you're not selling pay-per-views and you're not getting TV ratings because 10 seconds after something happens, you put it up on social media, which WWE
Pretty
does this
much.
too. So
Uh-huh.
like, why would I watch? Why would I pay to watch? Particularly a pay-per-view. TV, it's kind of who cares? It's already
Yeah.
happened. But why on a pay-per-view? Why? You don't even have to buy the damn pay-per-view anymore.
You really don't. You can just watch like clips and like videos of it, and that's about it. And within an hour, you see it.
Yeah, you've seen the whole show.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I don't know. They're not doing it the way I would do it, but I don't know. Can't make sense of it.
Pretty much.
I do hope they pull it out, man. I do. I don't want AEW to go away. I want AEW to be around. I want AEW to be good. And I want New Japan to be around, although New Japan historically is decent at the very least and
Yeah.
excellent at its best. Although they're losing talent too, because WWE is having a bit of a resurgence. I don't even know what you would call this. I mean, honestly, this might be the renaissance of wrestling, like truly, because it's
Hmm.
hot. It's hot right now. It's not as hot as it was, but it's getting there.
It's getting there.
This feels suspiciously like late '96.
It does. It does.
Like it feels like it's gonna explode.
Hmm.
Now the difference now is brands are bigger than individual talents. So I think that's part of the reason why you won't see, I don't think you'll ever see the Monday Night Wars level of popularity again where they're pulling like 5 to 8 million viewers. It's just
Yeah.
technology's different, but
Hmm.
culturally speaking, they're doing WWE at least is doing everything right. Like they're bringing The Rock in and he's part of the board. Um
Yeah.
and but it's
TKO.
not, yeah, but it's not PG Rock. Like
Hmm.
I'm getting vibes of Rock from again like 97 Rock,
Oh yeah.
so it's
When I
good.
first saw him, like, yeah, this is more like attitude rock,
Yeah. This is
or
good.
Hollywood rock.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I just even his presence feels a little bit different. Like not to say he was phoning it in, but like when did he come back before when he did the punk thing and he was a good baby
Oh yeah.
face and yeah.
Yeah.
And they brought him in sporadically to kind of like do a bit of a boost, but the product was so it didn't do a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rock always moves the needle. So like let's not pretend like that didn't happen, but
Hmm.
man, when they brought him in and everything was just so serious and raw and like even the wrestling beat up segments are sometimes can feel really phony. And in the back of our minds we all know it
Hmm.
is, but that beatdown of Cody actually felt a lot more visceral than any I've seen in a
It
long
did.
time.
It did.
And even they did the bit and it's one of those things where to quote DBZ Abridged Vegeta, I know you're playing me right now, but like somebody behind the camera is like, okay, we're off air, guys. And The Rock's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, see, I know it's fake, but just the way he committed, the way he did that, it makes sense. It makes sense
It
to the
feels
story.
more real, you know.
That's just it. Even though I know it's not.
Uh,
And ironically, another company that did that super well, which this is going to sound wacky until I explain myself, was Lucha Underground.
oh no, not at all. Not at all wacky. They really did. Even though it was like comic
Because
book heroes almost in a way,
yeah,
but still
but
it
in the
yeah.
universe they created because the
Hmm.
way they presented it and it was constant it was an ever-present feeling until Dario's dad came. That's when I started to be like it's the same guy wearing a wig.
Yeah.
That's when the cracks started to show. But up to that point, like I was like this is wacky as hell, but it feels real in their universe. This does not feel phony. And it was great. Like I said,
Yeah,
I
it
would
was.
love I would love for Lucha Underground to come back in some capacity. They can just do it, please.
I wish, but I doubt it'll ever come
I, d-
back.
I
Or
doubt it will.
it won't be as good as it used to be.
Yeah, somebody else will be in charge of it. And I,
Mhm.
I wonder what happened. Actually, I know what happened. They got sued because they were doing some really goofy deals. And I'm not defending that. That was bullshit. Like
Uh-huh.
to have people locked into contracts for 26 weeks when they worked for like 8, that's that's
That's
that's
too shady.
dumb.
Yeah,
That's
that's
dumb
gonna
as
be.
shit. Well, and
Yeah.
especially since the bulk of them were under masks. And they
Hmm.
didn't normally wrestle like Ricochet didn't normally wrestle under a mask.
That's true.
Like who like everybody knew it was him because of the tattoo, but I mean, really?
Uh-huh.
And you're telling,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm sure they told Rey Mysterio he couldn't wrestle anywhere else. Like, come on, whatever. Well, at least in the United States, right? Because a lot of their wrestlers were so active in Mexico. But
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that was dumb. That whole mess was dumb. Um, so yeah, that part sucked, but the rest of it was awesome. And
Hmm.
it seemed like they were getting ready. That's why I said it was probably the lawsuit because it seemed like they were getting ready to start touring because they did a handful of live events to test the waters.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember exactly when the lawsuit happened, but I think that's what quashed it. And ultimately, they said, "Screw it, this isn't worth it."
Yeah, I think they was like going under already, and the lawsuit just no made
Well,
it.
and the lawsuit, I want to clarify, the lawsuit was completely justified.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like they won, they deserved to win. Because
Hmm.
like I said, that was some bullshit. Like
Hmm.
like you can't pay somebody for 5 to 8 weeks worth of work and then tell them they can't work for 26 weeks. That's horseshit.
Yeah.
Like no, and especially when you're talking about likenesses that aren't there, because like I know Thunder Rosa was one of the people that um, filed the suit, and
Oh, okay.
she was wrestling under a mask as Cobra Moon, and she was not well known by this point, so she was still doing indies, and she was being told she couldn't
Uh-huh.
appear on television. Like, shut up!
Some they shot
Which
themselves.
holy shit, man! How I would really like, you know who I'd like to see come to WWE? Thunder Rosa,
Yeah, I would too.
Britt Baker as
I,
well, but because
oh yeah, definitely Brit. Definitely Brit.
Britt
And
Baker could make an impact. And now I don't think the WWE
mhm.
schedule will work for her though, if she wants to keep her dental practice.
Oh, she's still doing that? I didn't
As
realize she
far
was still.
far as I
Oh,
know, yeah. Well, she only if she works for AEW, she's only wrestling one night a week, right?
yeah, that's true.
So I don't know, maybe. And again, if the money's right, you know,
Yeah.
I don't mean this disparagingly, but everybody has a price, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, nobody said she had to close her practice. She just wouldn't be practicing for the bulk of the time, you know, but she can still
Hmm.
have her practice because she's not the only doctor that works there, or the only, well, yeah, she's a doctor of medical dentistry. So yeah, she would be doctor of
Yeah.
dentistry, dentist doctor, doctor dentist, one of those combinations. I don't know what to call it because when you say doctor, you think like medical doctor,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't
but
never
then,
really think dentist.
but she is a dent, she
Yeah,
is a
she is.
doctor. So I don't know. But hey, she'd be handy. I got it. She has a touring practice with WWE. She not only wrestles, but she's WWE's official dentist.
Ah, it could work.
That could work. Hey, man, all I'm saying is if you lose a tooth in an AEW ring, you're covered. Actually, that would be so funny if somebody actually did. Just Britt Baker runs out and hands him her card. Right? That'd be a funny bit they could do. That would be pretty good. Here, just call me tomorrow. Put some ice on that.
Yeah, I don't know why she's not there no more, like in AEW at all. She says she's okay, she's cleared. It's that they have nothing for her. Like,
They have nothing for anybody because there's no creative.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, sorry, not sorry, and I'll be the first to admit the Orange Cassidy thing was cute when they first started it. But
Yeah,
If Orange Cassidy gets
mhm,
TV time, they've got time for legitimate stars. They're just choosing not to.
yeah. I just don't get it. They
I
have
don't
so much talent there, but it's like they wasting it. I don't know why.
because they like the internet mark shit,
Yeah.
which maybe I'm just getting older and grumpier, but like the stuff that I thought was not I'm not even going to say I thought it was cool, but the stuff that made me chuckle like when AEW first started, I now can't
Mhm.
stand it. And I kind of feel ashamed for laughing at Orange Cassidy the first time I saw him cuz like now I look at it I'm just like this is so stupid.
Now I see what everybody else sees.
Yeah,
Even
right.
before, like, why you like this guy?
They do.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there really are, it seems to me there really are two kinds of wrestling fans. There are the ones that view it as kind of like a silly joke, and I'm not disparaging them for that necessarily.
Uh-huh.
But if you like that stuff, go support your goofy, wacky indies, right? For
Mhm.
for a television show, it needs to be portrayed a certain way, as we've seen. Because almost the minute WWE stopped doing all that goofy, wacky crap, ratings went up.
Yeah, it's true. It just doesn't work on like live TV.
It doesn't work for the wider audience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The wider audience wants to see Stone Cold drinking a beer and knocking out his boss. You know, they don't want to see a guy who's allegedly a good wrestler slow motion kicking people in the shins and somehow winning matches at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, it's Tony's company. They're his action figures. He can do whatever he wants with them. Just don't complain when nobody's watching your indie-rific show that costs $100 million an episode. That's all I'm
Look at
saying.
Mercedes. Like she's been there for about what 3 weeks now or so, and now it's like it's
It's all
whatever.
it's almost a month.
It's- yeah.
It's almost there.
I'm
I
pretty sure she's gonna be back in WWE in the next 2 years or so.
I probably. I mean, but and I'm not trying to like throw anything at Willow Nightingale, but it sucks because sometimes you can't say it without sounding like a dick, but like you're bringing in one of the hottest female talents in the world, and your
Mhm.
first feud is with Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, I just don't get that. Like she's okay, but she's
Like,
not to that
yeah,
level.
but she's not there yet.
No.
I mean, oh, how do I say this and not sound like a jerk? I don't see the mass appeal. I understand why some people might really like
Mhm.
Willow Nightingale. I get it, but I don't see
Sh-
mass
She's
appeal.
nice, but I don't see
Yeah,
main event. You
I
know,
don't I don't even see mass appeal because like for example, Britt Baker, I see mass not everybody likes Britt Baker, but I see
yeah, yeah.
mass appeal.
Oh,
What's
absolutely.
what's another example? Like even Hikaru Shida, if marketed right, I see mass appeal.
Hmm.
Even Tony Storm, I don't get it, but there's mass appeal there.
Yeah, I like her more now than ever. Like than any other of her old gimmicks. I like this gimmick the most, but it's
I
not by
think
far.
I think they're I think I think they're dangerously close to beating a dead horse with it, but
They are.
it's only because they take it too far sometimes, i.e., I think the black and white thing for vignettes is kind of cool. It's different,
Hmm.
but to do it when she comes out to the ring is a little silly.
Yeah.
Um, I laughed the first time she did the watch out for the shoe thing. Now it's kind of,
Yeah.
it's, you know, tits out, watch out for the shoe. It was funny the first time. Now it's getting a little stale. I was actually intrigued when he first started doing it because I was like, oh, okay, but now it feels like it's being because that's another thing AEW does is they can't do anything reserved or sparingly. It's like we have to do it 100 more times.
Yeah. Like it got over once. Let's keep on doing it over and
Let's
over and over again
let's do it a
until it doesn't get
thousand
over.
times. Yeah, until people are sick of it.
Yeah.
As Jim Cornette is always fond of saying, "How can I miss you if you never go away?" But then they take that too far because apparently, like Miro moved back to Bulgaria.
Yeah, I think he oh no, he got divorced. I was gonna say he left, but yeah, that was the
Now,
biggest thing.
now I'm hoping that's he just went home to recharge. But I wonder if Tony Khan knew that he moved back to Bulgaria. Which Jim Cornette,
Probably.
Jim Cornette brought that up. He's like, Does Tony know that one of his wrestlers moved out to fucking Bulgaria? So probably not. He's probably going to get the airline ticket prices and be like, "What the shit? So we've been paying this guy to fly to and from Bulgaria each week." It would be funny. Well, you got anything else to add for WrestleMania or
Not so
CM
much.
Punk
That
or
was
anything?
pretty much we covered everything.
Yeah.
That
Regrettably,
was good.
regrettably Brian couldn't join us because, like I said,
Yeah.
he's currently at the medical facility still, but he's okay. But yeah, unfortunately, I did feel that tonight was really it was best not to postpone because I did advertise that we were going to go live at 7. So,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
these things happen, but the show must go on. Brian will join us next time, I'm sure. And like I said, he was active in the comments there, but he's busy. You got to do what you got to do. No,
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But hopefully, which I'm sure WrestleMania will be very good, and you
Yeah.
should all enjoy it. And
Can't wait for that one.
list your predictions in the comments below if you're watching this. And like I said, be sure to check out our friends at Trophy Smack and get yourself a cool belt like this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Everyone
buy
can
one.
everyone can be a champion. Everyone can be a champion with Trophy Smack.
Mhm.
And please like, share, and subscribe. Help the podcast grow, which we had a nice surge in subscribers a little bit earlier on this week. And just check out the videos, help the channel grow, and tell your friends. And always join in the conversation. We like talking about wrestling. That's why we do this whole thing. And until next time, where we'll be probably just going over and see where we were right and wrong in WrestleMania. We'll see you in two
Yeah, I can't wait for
weeks.
that one.
That's what
Yeah.
that one's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
really would.
I'm just literally gonna. I'm, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of "I told you so." It's like the last pay per view. We actually were perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
That was I was pretty proud of that. Although that one did seem like a placeholder, so I don't give us too much credit.
Hmm.
But we will see you guys next time. Until then, watch
All right.
wrestling, except AEW because no, watch AEW. I'm see, especially if you like it, watch AEW. But we will see you guys next time.